The Hilton Hotel at Templepatrick was the venue for a leadership seminar organised jointly between the Ulster Teachers Union and the Northern Office of the Irish National Teachers Organisation. The key topic was the workload agreement, which the teaching unions have drawn up to address a range of work-related issues in schools across the province. Among the speakers were a number of principals and vice-principals representing both primary and post-primary schools in Northern Ireland.
This afternoon is a very important event because for many years teachers have been working well outside their terms and conditions in the amount of work they've been doing both in school and out of school, and appreciate it as a profession, and teachers will always need to do work outside of their directed hours. It's important that teachers and principals be reminded of the terms and conditions really. So we've sat down with employers last year to renegotiate the parameters surrounding terms and conditions, and we called it the workload agreement. And it reiterates what teachers should be doing, the hours they should be teaching, the hours they should be doing planning and preparation, and also the cover arrangements in both primary and post-primary schools. And what we're looking for this afternoon is exemplars from teachers or principals in our schools, both INTO and UTU, who just provide some concrete examples of good practice in their schools, but really they're there to stimulate a discussion.
Where did this workload agreement come out of is as good a starting point as any. And for all the unions, but for INTO in particular, in 2010 we had a motion at our annual conference on workload and calling us to, for goodness sake, do something about the increasing workload. So we did a survey that autumn of our principals, nursery, primary, post-primary, and our members, and the results were actually quite startling. We knew workload was a big issue, but we were I'm not going to go through the figures, but 72% of primary principals did not have a work-life balance. 92% of nursery principals did not have a reasonable work-life balance. 75%, I think it was, of primary teachers, and strangely enough it was only 54% or 56% of post-primary teachers who didn't have a work-life balance, more than half of them. So there was a serious issue there. So then in at our annual conference then last year in March 2011, there was another motion. We presented the outcomes of the survey, and we had a motion saying we've got to take industrial action if workload is not addressed for all our members. We went to UTU, as we do, and discussed the issue. We then took it to the Northern Ireland Teachers Council with a view to putting a claim into the employers. And the claim, which we agreed, the 5 unions, was if we don't revisit and re-examine the existing workload agreement, which was the Jordanstown Agreement from 1987, the Teachers' Terms and Conditions of Employment, if we don't address it and come up with a satisfactory resolution to it, we're going to have to take industrial action.
I've been asked to give the post-primary perspective in terms of how cover is organised within the school, but I always had to go back and look at it from the planning process, which we start basically in January of the previous academic year. By doing that, we implement a timetable that matches the needs of the pupils within the school, but at the same time I have to always take cognizance of the teachers within the school, and by doing that I plan in such a way to have, to try and ensure that we've got a number of teachers that would be free at any one time to ensure that when cover arrangements have to be in place, it's manageable. Plus at the same time, we have a lot of activities that happen within the schools that we have to provide cover for. We're a very large boys' school. We've over 900 boys. Therefore, obviously, sporting activities, we're going to be very strong at those. Soccer, Gaelic, basketball, swimming, that all impacts. And when the boys are travelling away to other parts within the north, we have to ensure that the classes that the teachers are leaving behind are covered, that they're managed, and that they're in a secure environment and so on. Well, what the workload agreement is doing, it is looking after the health and well-being of all members of staff within the school. Within the post-primary sector now, what this workload agreement is now saying is that up to a maximum of 23.5 hours contact now, including cover, is what is expected and cannot really go over that. But within the schools, you have to one must appreciate the fact that the schools are unique environments, and where there's a lot of goodwill, their staff would be willing to go over that as and when there is a need.
But I just know, as the other members are saying here, that staff are doing more and more and more. And for anyone who thinks that my staff will ever get everything that they do into 1265 hours, they need to think again, because all of my teachers are working double that. I can't understand that only 50% of the post-primary people indicated that they didn't have a work-life balance, because in my school I think 99.999% of my staff don't have a work-life balance.
I was glad to be able to give some insight into how we use directed time in St John's and Portadown. And we basically use directed time for us. Directed time does not control us. We use it that will be most beneficial to ourselves and to the children, and we are very flexible in its use.
And just explain the whole concept. What is actually directed time for people that aren't in the profession?
Well, directed time, the Jordanstown Agreement stated that teachers had to work 12.65 hours per year, and a number of those hours are not non-class contact, so it's how you would use those, and we would use those very early in the morning. The teachers would prepare for the day, use them for break time cover, and most importantly use them for a few afternoons per week where the teachers would plan and prepare for the year ahead. I was fortunate to be visited by a neighbouring principal a number of years ago, and she commented she was amazed at the number of cars that were still in our car park at 3:45 on a Thursday afternoon. And I explained to her that actually Thursday was our early afternoon where the teachers should go at 3 o'clock. And I've no doubt, while I'm sitting here now, there's probably teachers still in school now, and the caretaker's trying his best to persuade them to leave the premises. Teachers always give of themselves, they always work very hard, and I really don't think that we need a number of hours to tell us what we should be doing. We do it naturally because we are a given profession.